Guys, I'm still sick, but we got to get this video done. So I say got to get this video done as if I don't have like 7 videos in the queue waiting to be done. I clearly am actually not really too, I would say motivated, but I'm not really too driven to, to actually doing that. So I don't know why I use that expression, but we got to have something orange today. Today is my favorite orange drink, I'd say. It is lucozade energy. This thing gets me through my colds. I'm still sick. This thing gets me through a lot, really. And if I ever can for a workout, I'll grab a sports bra, this one. I'll kind of carve out, I have some intra workout lucozade, and it actually works wonders. Like it's great. I was supposed to do this yesterday, but it's got caffeine in. I'm really caffeine sensitive. I can't have it that close to bed, but we are going to have some today. There's a lot of different flavors. I usually only get the orange one anyway, so. Okay. It's just a nice drink. It's just a nice drink. It honestly tastes like... It tastes like if ginger ale was an orange segment. Like, not orange, but an orange segment. Real ones know what I'm talking about, where I can't even put the lid on. This is so embarrassing. When you have an orange, sometimes if you're a little bit weird, this is me, so I can call it weird. If you're a little bit weird, oh my goodness, the lid is just not on properly, look at that. If you're a little bit weird, you will dissect the orange, right? So normally dissecting is you're taking those little segments out of the orange. The orange's got like 8 different ones, you're taking it out. Dissecting it is you peel the skin off those segments and you take the little pods of flavor out and you eat those. That's what drinking this feels like. It feels like if ginger ale and that had a baby, basically. I'd recommend it. If you can, get it, because it's honestly great. It's like our version of Gatorade here in the UK. Yeah, let's get into the workout. Okay, so today's gonna be a back day. And truth is, I have never uploaded a back day on this channel. I don't even know why. I think it just ended up being the case where the days I ended up filming, but the days where I was training my chest, training my legs, and now I don't even have a back day. Also, this is a pretty bad... Oh no. How is this part of the recording? That's not the point. The point is you're going to see which back exercises I do, which is also most of them not even back exercises I do anymore, or bicep exercises I do anymore, but you're going to see my old back day. Now this is maybe April 2024, 7th of April 2024 is my best guess. So yeah, for a while, I really wanted to work on my upper back thickness, like as a priority for one of my back days. So I would start with more of an upper back bias row. Outside of that, I've mentioned in a few videos that my pulling strength is weaker than it should be. Maybe this is part of the reason why I wasn't posting back days, who knows. But the reason behind this was actually because my straps, you can see them there, I was using them the wrong way around. Yeah, I was using straps incorrectly. It happens to the best of us, I'm sure. But yeah, this is a proper working set, the upper back row. You can see how I do. I kind of let the seat go all the way to the bottom. It's literally not even on a peg. I try and get my arms as close to like fully flared as possible. And then I'm honestly just focusing purely on bringing the elbows back. The thing about traps you don't always realize is that shoulder blade squeeze doesn't really matter. All the traps do is they move your shoulder. And as a unit, the shoulder usually moves alongside the scaps, the scapulars, the shoulder blades, but they don't have to. And that's why when I do this exercise, because I'm focusing mainly on the upper back, at least in this variation, I don't care too much about that squeeze. But yeah, this isn't perfect. I don't have any other ways to train my upper back better. Obviously, with something like this, I would want my forearms to stay perpendicular the entire time. I'd want to have more flair. And maybe I'll throw in maybe a Smith machine row at some point and see if I can get anywhere with that. But this has been a back exercise which has been over a while now. Next, this is gone. But the single arm lat pull down is a lot of fun. And the reason it's gone is actually because when picking my lat exercise, we can train the lats in two different ways. We can do adduction, which is going to be like a standard lat pull down. And we can do extension, a shoulder extension. And this is the shoulder extension one. So this is actually basically the same as a lat bias row, even though we're pulling down, which a lot of people don't entirely understand. And so when I kind of downsized my workout, the amount of exercise I was doing, this was one of the ones to go, because I still have a row, which will still be hitting the lat somewhat through the extension. So I just wanted to make sure adduction was still there, and we were able to kind of work that part of it. So that is a vertical row in my program. But man, I love this. Also, another reason I got rid of it is purely because look at that stack. I ended up full stacking it. I don't have a gym pin. There's not much else I can do. So when that happened, I was also kind of like, well, this is not doable. I can keep the exercise kinda by doing it in a different way. But this was so much fun. If you have the ability to do this and you have room in your program, honestly do it, because it's just so much fun. Like, it's fun. Look at it. You can't tell me this isn't fun. And it is a good thing to do. Like, you look in the mirror when you see yourself doing it. You look at how big your legs are getting. It's just great. I do really miss this exercise, and I'm sure I'll do it randomly one day. But this has been a big builder for my lats recently. Well, recently back then. Now we're relying on the pull downs. If you haven't tried it, I don't know why you haven't, because it even looks cool as an exercise. Like, people hate on cables, they hate on machines. But especially when you see someone full stacking this, you can't tell me it doesn't look cool. That's one arm. Well, not the entire stack here, but one arm with an entire stack in person. Oh. Okay, now that that's over and done with, we are going on to some lat pull downs. This looks weak. I don't do this weight right now. I have got stronger, but the weakness isn't actually because I'm just weak in this plane of movement. It's because we've just demolished the lats in that row, and that's gonna bring them to this a bit more fatigued. And in truth, was this the best way to program? Who knows? This was more of a trap day, right? The other one I did is definitely more of a lat day. I don't think we ever have a recording of that. That's unfortunate. Look at that. We can see a little bit of skin. But yeah, this movement's fun. For a while, I only really trained in like the lats range, because especially if we're only doing that exercise for that, function of the lats, I want to make it a little bit less upper back. I don't do that anymore because I'm just too lazy to be able to think about that during the movement, so I just let it go all the way up. Anyway, curls. For a while, I used to do a little primer for curls just because, I don't know, it would always give me a little bit more. There was a time where my first set without a primer would be weaker than my second. So I threw this in. I don't need to do it anymore because I've kind of gained that neural adaptation. But back here, it was a big helper. And I mean, I was always trying to move up the weight on these. And you can say that there's momentum. And sure, there is a little bit of, a teeny amount of swaying. But I think what people don't realize is in a set like this, especially with heavy weight, it's the way your body's counterbalancing itself. Like, don't get me wrong, it also adds some assistance because this is a weight that I can do sitting down. I do it seated currently, the bicep curls. It's a weight I can do seated down, but definitely weaker.
Pretty. Your constant prop. It's being decent. This thing, I said, that's on Americans. We'll see what happens today. But like 2 exercises left. It's been pretty easy exercise these 3. So you should be good. I would like think about 2 and get good. I'll try to think I enjoy that. Some ups and downs thing. The leg press upstairs and the cable with the wall. Eat that. I don't realize that one. These are carbs. That's go pizza. Say okay, base and because when you have to eat it, so that version makes it fun items. The set by set goes. Couldn't go the way I liked. But both of that typically Australian different anytime after and fail. I like the gut. Yeah. That's not good. We'll do it the set.
Also, I'm telling you guys, you don't realize how much actual muscle mass is on this frame. Being a bit bulked up, being a bit more bear mode, not having the same definition as someone a bit leaner, it's hard to tell. But as I progress in my current cut, and as I, built some muscle in the meantime, I think there's going to be some minds blown in honesty. Okay, a preacher hammer curl is also something I don't do anymore, but this was just, I love preacher curls, and I wanted to hit the brachialis a little bit more. And it worked. Every time I would do this, you could instantly see a bit pump in that middle portion of the arm. Now, the thing about this is I would only do 1 set each side. I don't need to go crazy on this, and of course I've dropped volume further, but this was enough to make consistent progress. Something really interesting about curls in general, especially preacher curls with this sort of setup, is there's a heavy demand to flex the shoulder, which you can say is a bicep function. Doesn't really matter if it is or isn't. But the reason this demand exists is because your body learned that doing that makes it easier. So the second you've done it the first time, you can't unlearn that. And every single time you do the movement, it becomes part of it to make it easier. Now, whether or not it's a bad thing is besides the point, but by forcing yourself not to do it, 1, you're not able to, and 2, you're actually hurting the performance. But again, another fun exercise. I feel like every time I see an old one I do, I just want to go and do it again. What we'll do is we'll give it a bit of time, and I'll end up throwing these movements back in, and we'll see how straps changed and how much stronger we can go next time. Anyway, the rear delt fly, another thing which isn't here anymore. But in fairness, I don't think I can ever do this again because my rear delts are stronger than they were here. And here it's the full stack. So what would be the point adding this back in? Like if I'm going to train rear delts in the future, the movement I'm going to do is going to be like a unilateral cable rear delt fly. And because of that, and because my rear delts are big enough, they're proportional, I'm honestly just focusing on training them through rows, similar to the front delts in pushes, not in rows. And, if they become a weakness in the future, sure, I'll throw in some some focused work, but in truth, I don't think it's necessary. I put a lot of work into my rear delts, and that's going to be maintained, and it's probably not going to be lost. So, did a good thing. But I do again miss this exercise. Mainly this thing I used to do at the end, where I would just finish my back day with a nice upside down glance.